just my journey from 94 when I was just that ambitious young guy who really believed he could make a difference in a competitive industry here in Ireland, believe it or not, in the 1990s. Everybody, there was a lot of printing companies, and I couldn't even get finance. The banks were saying no, 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 and I needed finance because I had to buy printing presses. And I said, no, I'm going to do it different. There's no, there's too many people. And I says, yeah, but the quality is very poor. I've been researching it. I can tell you that all the good work is going to Dublin, and there's room for someone that can deliver on their promise and deliver high quality print. And what I did in the end, I actually sold my car, right, to put the
Oh,
money
wow.
in. Yeah, I did that. I believed so much in what I wanted to do. And what was fantastic then was like, so I get going, and I remember my accountant who was with me at the time, he was doing my projections. He said, when I got it over the line in the end, and they backed me, and I said, this is what I'm willing to give. I believe that much in it. And then they came on board with me, and
Oh,
my accountant
good.
said, Dave, he said, you get like 10 out of 10. He says, fair play to you. Like you would not give up. You just kept pushing on because you believed. And I says, I wasn't giving up. And to think that within 5 years of that, I'm working for Apple, I'm working for BMW, Lexus, Toyota, Hyundai, all the big car brands in the world. This small printing company in Cork, no one even knew who we were, right? And that was the power of connecting and the power of relationships and the power of doing what I said I was going to do for them. So I just want to be the best at what I'm doing. That's it. Of course, when I started working with them 17 years ago now, I was the guy that went to the gym all the time. I did martial arts. I did all kinds of high intensity stuff, high impact stuff, and my body wasn't behaving very well. And I was also that very busy professional in my other business, and I was neglecting
Yeah.
myself, of course. And I was trying to find a real sustainable, efficient way of working out because I obviously recognized the importance of it. I've been in fitness since I was 12. And that was 47 years ago now, right? So it was a long time. So I'm not showing my age, right? I've only got 1 year left. I've only got a few months left before I get the big 6-0, right? So that's coming fast. But you know what? Like since I picked up the band and I realized very quickly I could do something really special with these bands and you could take them anywhere. So I kind of created my own unique training system with them. I used them in a way that people wouldn't even imagine how to use them because they've had 17 years to develop it, right? But when I picked them up first, I didn't pick it up because I was going to teach it because I wasn't in that. That wasn't what I did. I was just in print and design. I was in fitness for me. But I was always so passionate about it, and I'd always be the guy in the gym trying to help other people inside there, of course, show them how to do something correctly because people were just terrible. They were just lifting things wrong and doing everything wrong. So I guess it was always in me, in me, Alice, But it was my clients then that said, Dave, you would be just so amazing doing this. Do you ever think about doing it? You're so passionate. You look the part. You rave about these bands all the time, and it just went inside me. And I kind of thought, yeah, I actually would. I think I'd love to make a difference. And I didn't know if I'd be any good, right? But I said I'd give it a go. I mean, I knew everything about them, but would I be able to deliver and teach it, right? So I did the qualifications, and I can really remember my very first client 10 years ago now. And I just remember the smile on her face at the end of it, and she goes, "Well, that was so different, Dave. Wow, And I knew immediately I was meant to do this. So much so, Les Scott. That was 2016. In 2018, being in fitness made me realize one thing: I didn't want to be in the print and design business I was in anymore. I find like when I look back at my life and I look back at the changes I made because I guess I was on that hamster wheel, right, in my other business, and I neglected myself and I missed out on things, and even with my family that I shouldn't have missed out on. And I promised myself I wouldn't let it happen again. But God, it's so easy to get sucked in, isn't it? I mean, I'm here with the fitness now, and it's a very different model, of course. I mean, I never ever feel like I work when I'm in fitness, Ellis.
Oh, that's good.
It's the strangest. Like it's. I mean, it's not like I didn't enjoy my printing design because I did because I'm gone from that successful business. I've got a small little fitness business going. I don't even know where I'm going to go, but if I'm here in Cork, I'm not online now. Remember, this is in person. So I made this, I closed my gym and I left my business all within the same 2 months. Imagine that. And I just took
Wow.
one big chance and I said, I'm gonna be the online guy. I'm gonna go on there and
Awesome.
because I always wanted to be the person who could reach. I really loved the band so much, Alessio. I really, really did. I said everybody needs to have one of these. These bands have transformed me. They've changed my life, not just physically, but mentally as well. And I was looking at myself like, and I was fitter and stronger than I was 20 years ago, and I was pretty strong 20 years ago, right? But now I'm better. And I said, how do I do it if I'm stuck here in Cork and then COVID? So I jumped
Yeah.
on. I mean, it's not like I didn't enjoy my printing design because I did because of the people I worked with, not the job itself. It was quite stressful, especially deadlines on print jobs and stuff. But the people I worked with, I loved because I had that connection with them. But in fitness, it's like I never feel like I'm working. I feel like the people I work with are my friends. My son Dennis says, God, that you've got some great friends who pay you, right? You know,
That's
that's
right.
because they're like my friends, right? And I look forward to seeing them and I look forward to hearing their stories and how they're getting on and checking in with them. And how did you get on? Did you do that session you promised you do when you were with me? How were you with the food? How were you with the water? I had done 24 years, but I was like, so in 2018, I made a decision to leave my business, and sell my shares. And that was a big decision because I was 52
Yeah.
and I was doing really well in the business. So it was like, I was going to take this chance, take that risk, I guess, and
Right.
walk away from something that was in my blood that I was really good at with really amazing clients, financially very stable and everything, to become a fitness style. And I just went for it because I just followed
Good.
my heart. And I didn't know what was coming with COVID, of course, right? Because that
Right.
came quite quickly. But it turned out to be, for me, such a blessing, as tough as it was for many people. And I said, how is this going to work? I didn't really believe in it, if I'm being honest, right? But I was like, I was made for it. The fans, people in their bedrooms and in their landings and in their living rooms, and they were in hotel rooms, and they were everywhere, and they were using these bands with me, and we would. It was all about 30 minutes workout. So my thing was efficient, 30 minutes, boom, 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 done, right? You don't need to be in a gym for 2 hours, right? 30 minutes, you're done. And my goal was to teach as many people as possible how to use these bands properly. And, I did it all live and I did it all one to one. And I got so busy because I became part of a network here in Ireland, and everybody from people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s started working out with me online.
Oh,
So now suddenly I was consumed. It was like, how am I going to manage this? Like, no time. And then my clients would say, like Roisin was one of my first clients, and she says to me, Dave, why don't you do groups as well? You'd be great at groups. And
yeah.
people, so I said, I resisted for a while because I said, no, 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 I'm the one-to-one guy, right? She goes, no, no, Dave, you want to reach more people, you want to scale up your business, you want to be successful, do groups as well. And I started doing the groups, and then I remember my son saying, well, I says, well, then why didn't I do these group classes a couple of years ago? Because I just wasn't ready for it. And I guess the next step then was, so I was working with people all around Ireland, right? Groups one to one. And then of course with encouragement again then from Roisin and stuff, it was like, well, maybe you need to have some kind of an online platform where you can be available all the time, even when you're asleep, do recorded stuff,
There
tutorials.
you go.
And it took me a while to get to that. I literally went straight in and I started working on tutorial videos. And I worked with my son Dylan, like, which was wonderful to do it with him. And he's recording me, and he's been honest with me, about how I'm delivering, and slowly but surely, two videos became four, became six, became eight, and I launched my page. I decided to go with Patreon because it was ready made, it was available, rather than trying to create my own platform. And of course, through Bill Walters, I met with Jojo Dorica then, of course, and had a conversation with her. And she says, so I was telling her about Patreon, and she goes, okay, have you heard of The Great Discovery? And I said, no, what is The Great Discovery? And she says, well, how would you feel about, you talk about the passion for your resistance bands and teaching people. What about all the people in countries that won't understand you? They won't understand your language. And I said, okay, I didn't think about that. Would you like to be in Japan, Poland, all these different places where they have no English? And I said, yeah. She goes, well, you can, because the Great Discovery will translate your words in
Oh,
122 languages. So now I became part of the great discovery. I met with Tim Taylor out in Florida, not in person, of course, not yet, right? Online. And I just loved where he was going with this new concept. It's in the early stages, of course, and but they're
right.
really, I reckon, in another year to 2 years, they'll be the biggest platform in the world with what they do. And like I got to watch myself on video last week speak in my promo. I'll share it with you. I'm speaking German, I'm speaking French, I'm speaking Polish, I'm speaking Arabic, I'm
Wow.
speaking. It's just and my accent. This is the mad part. My accent is there. It's my voice, and it's just speaking different words. It's just unbelievable. So now I've created a very see. I want people to be able to afford me as well, right? Because that's important to me as well, right? It's a one-off purchase. You buy the course, and now I'm kind of like I'm going to do one for golf because people. I train a lot of golfers here in Ireland,
All
and they
right.
talk about their drive, right, and how much further they hit the ball over training with me with the bands, and they said, Dave, do a course on this, do a tutorial video and pick five exercises on, do a few a series of them, do five exercises and one, do another, and then combine this. So now I'm doing that at the moment. So it's all exciting. And then Dylan, because of his tennis, I mean, resistance bands are used in the tennis world all the time. I'm going to probably do something for tennis as well. So yeah, that's it now, because I was the guy that if you pick the phone up, you will get me. If you leave a message for me, I will return it. And that was my ethos always. And I bring that into my fitness, by the way. I'm the guy that I will be there for you no matter what. You can WhatsApp me, you can text me, you can do whatever. If you've got a problem or if you're just feeling down or anything, you just imagine the conversations I've had with clients over the last
Oh,
number of years
yeah.
and the stuff they share with me. And I share stuff with them as well because, it makes them I suppose when they're talking about something that feels so bad, and we say, listen, we all have stuff in our lives, right? I mean, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me now, and then they kind of go, oh wow. So yeah, it's not just fitness for me; it's much deeper than that. A less like so, it definitely is. And I like to think I'm making a real positive impact on people's lives, and I'm the guy that's there for the 50-year-olds, the 60-year-olds, the 70-year-olds, the 80-year-olds, the people that no one really cares about in fitness anymore. They're just
Yeah.
it's all Instagram and all this selfie stuff, all that rubbish, and I don't like what the fitness industry stands for at all. I got introduced to a wonderful guy. He's South African. He's living in Wales. He was introduced to me through a client of mine, and he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease at 58. He's
Wow.
64, and he said, "Dave, will you take me on? I'm going to be getting a procedure done soon, and they're going to open up my head, top of my skull, and they're going to put probes down. It's life-changing surgery that will eliminate his medications if it all goes
Oh,
successful." So
wow.
he passed all the tests, but he was told you need to be the strongest version of yourself. And to train him, and I actually did the workout with him. So he's on my big monitor. I'm back there at the door behind me, and I'm saying, "All right, Dario. Normally I'm watching, and I said, I'm going to do the workout with you. So we're going to feel it together, right? So every squat you do, I'm going to do with you." And I says to him, "What if I told you?" At some point in the coming months, you're going to do 250 squats with me in a row. He
Wow.
says, he says, bring it on, Dave. You know what? Just before he went for his surgery, he did 250 squats. And he said to me, Dave, for the first time, I feel I have control of my body again. And his
Awesome.
wife noticed how he walked to his car and he stood tall and he posture seemed better. And where are you talking now? Less 3 months, 3 months thereabouts, right? Training with me every week. And he says to me, God, you're amazing. And I said, no, 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 no. You are remarkable. You are amazing. You're the inspiration for me to be able to do. And when I listen to people talk, making excuses about, no, I have no time. And then I look at this man and what he's doing, I'm thinking, no, you can't say that. Like this
Oh,
guy. So yeah, I get to be part of that type of journey as well. He was one of the guys that when I started with him, he said to me, Dave, like I'm gonna we're gonna get to know each other really well. And he says, just imagine even 1, 2 years from now, you're gonna be doing a load of work for the entire motor group that I'm involved with. And you're going to be driving one of those Lexus, right? This is all going to happen for you within 1 or 2 years. And within 1 year of that, I was doing all of the printing for the entire group. I was driving a Lexus, right? And then I was referring family and friends to him. And what I discovered about him was he was my client. Then he came to me for fitness as well, of course, right? And he was a very laid back kind of a character now. And he says to me, what I figured out about him was he was actually very unhappy in his job in the end. He was going through an awful lot of stress and pressure, and he was going home to his family, and he was very moody. And I remember phoning him one evening, and I said, "Look, Tom, I've got some news for you. I'm leaving my business and I'm closing my gym." And he goes, "What? At 52?" And I goes, "Yeah." And I said, I've sat down, I've thought about it, and I'm not afraid because I know it's all going to be okay. I said, I've got to think about where I want to be in 10, 20 years' time, and I can't be where I am right now. It's just not where I want to be. So I'm going to trust that it's all going to be work out fine. I've got the right people around me. You don't need many, just the right people. And I just left it at that with him. And he said, "Well," he said, "I can't believe it." He said, "Fair play to you, you know." And I would say within 6 months of that, I got a text message from him, and it was a different number. He goes, "New phone, new life," right? So he said, "Let's meet up when I'm back from my holidays." I met him. He resigned, left the job, and now he is working in a completely different environment where there's no stress, no pressure. He's earning more money again, and he got his life back. And he says, "Dave, you inspired me to do it." He said, I said, "If Dave can do that," and he'd left that business that was so successful and left that gym and started all over again, "I can do it too." And
Awesome.
that's why he says.